Welcome to Inside Games Daily, the only gaming news show brave enough to defend a handheld that doesn't exist yet.
What's gaming media about if we're not getting into slap fights over chunky little electronic pieces? It's another day on the internet. And just to kind of address the intro, we're not quite defending the ROG Xbox Ally, but I personally do think it's pretty cool. So I'll just put that up there.
Yeah, and the context of the story will lead into that handheld. You'll see why in a second. So founding Xbox member Laura Frier published an analysis and opinion video over the weekend interpreting the recent announcement of the ROG Xbox Ally X as evidence that Xbox is giving up on hardware completely.
From my perspective, it looks like Xbox has no desire or literally can't ship hardware anymore. So this partnership is about a slow exit from the hardware business completely. Personally, I think Xbox hardware is dead.
We'll get into Frier's comments in a minute, but first we need a little context about the ROG Xbox Ally, since the platform itself is a little confusing, and it's also kind of at the center of Frier's concerns.
Yeah, Xbox announced the ROG, either way, whatever. Xbox Ally. I mean, I'm so tired of saying Xbox names. Boy, oh boy. ROG Xbox Ally and ROG Xbox Ally X in early June. They announced that hardware. It's very exciting, by the way. We love the thing, but boy, oh boy, it needs a new name. In partnership with hardware electronics manufacturer Asus or Asus or however you want to say it.
Yeah. Here's a little fun fact trivia that no one asked for. Asus is actually the back half of the word Pegasus, so it's supposed to be pronounced Asus.
Asus.
Whatever, it's easier to say it this way. The ROG Xbox Ally is essentially a branded version of the current ROG Ally handheld PC, except the ROG Xbox Ally has gamer grips, Xbox branding, an Xbox button, and a custom version of Windows that's tuned for gaming and portable efficiency.
Yeah, and for the other half of context, Frier originally joined Microsoft Game Studios in 1995 and joined the Xbox project in May of 2000. She moved to Warner Brothers Interactive in 2009 and then to Epic Games in 2012. So she was like one of the original people to work on the original Xbox. It was really cool.
Yeah, I worked on Crimson Skies, which is a game I always liked, so instant cred. All right, back to Frier's concerns here, which are naturally informed by her history with the Xbox brand.
As one of the founding members of the Xbox team, I'm not pleased with where things are today. I don't love watching all of the value that I helped create slowly get eroded away.
Okay, well, nobody wants to see that, right? Obviously. Frier expresses disappointment that Xbox has apparently decided to delegate hardware design to Asus.
Hardware is expensive to make. It's much easier to slap an Xbox sticker on an existing piece of hardware and call it a day.
And Frier continues, that delegated hardware doesn't even have a slate of exclusive games to show you why you should want to buy it.
People don't buy your new hardware if there's no reason to. Definitely a problem for the new Xbox handheld.
Yeah, that's the number one complaint, I think, from most people, is that there isn't the game that they want to buy on the hardware that they have to pay $600 for. She expresses confusion at the mixed reaction to the ROG Xbox Ally announcement, as she doesn't, quote, see any reason why anyone would buy this piece of hardware. Well...
Yeah, I see a few, but I'm already using the ROG Ally quite a bit, so a lot of her specific beef with the hardware itself seems to be focused on the fact that it comes with Windows 11, an operating system that she's very honest in saying she actively dislikes.
Let me just admit my bias here. I don't like Windows. When I left Microsoft, I installed Linux on all of my personal systems, and I never looked back.
Hey, I don't like Windows 11 either, Lawrence. I am not a fan of that operating system at all, but we have to use it every single day. Most people do. Frier goes on to point out that Xbox's Play Anywhere approach disincentivizes custom hardware by definition.
Xbox Anywhere means that I can play that game on any platform. I can play it on Xbox or PC. I may even be able to play it on the PS5 or the Switch. So why would I buy the ROG Ally?
Yeah, I mean, that seems to be the pivot shift that they did strategically. Instead of playing by the old rules of trying to get a roster of exclusive games on exclusive hardware, now it's give people options and try to offer the best value, which it weirdly doesn't have the instant success you'd think it would. Regardless, on top of all the shifts in strategy, Frier points out that Xbox, kind of like a lot of game studios these days, have struggled to ship games, with kind of listing some games we haven't seen for a while: State of Decay 3, Perfect Dark, and Fable. None of those titles appeared in their summer showcase.
She does acknowledge the apparent success of the Oblivion remake, though, so there's that.
The remake of Oblivion was obviously a huge success, and they can continue to outsource that work to external companies and make a lot of money releasing their older games. older games from an era when Xbox knew how to build them.
But also Xbox didn't make Oblivion. I mean, they were a good home for it, I guess the console was. So she's probably referring more to a software partnership. Still, it was a different studio, technically the same studio. Anyway, to boil the argument down, which, you know, there's validity to all these points. There are no system selling games. Xbox themselves are unlikely to make one or even be able to ship one. And even if there were a system selling game, you wouldn't need the ROG Xbox Ally to play it.
That's true. Contrasting Frier's analysis regarding the future of Xbox hardware, Xbox announced a partnership with AMD to provide hardware for their next generation console lineup in mid-June.
I mean, I think there's plenty of evidence that Xbox is not ceasing hardware, but I do think, given how they operate their business, you can see a sort of, it's not as critical to their strategy anymore. They need people logging in and subscribing. They don't necessarily need people buying a hunk of carbon, which is, you know, it's a shift. That was actually kind of critical to a lot of Frier's frustrations, the idea that you have to sign into Windows or sign into this or that, whereas PC is meant to be more of an open operating, or more of an open platform. I don't know, you got to sign into everything these days. You got to sign into Steam if you want to use a Steam Deck, so at some point it's like, which megacorp do you trust with your sign-in, or you just try to go the hardcore route, install Linux and only use offline installers? But you're only going to get so far these days doing that. So I don't know, I can see from her perspective and maybe the way that she plays games why this handheld would offer no value, but I think a all-in-one kit that's portable and has ready access to Game Pass fulfills a hole in the market that isn't really filled by anything else.
You're absolutely right. I think just to provide context for Laura's comments, because clearly she was, I mean, think about it this way. She's been working on the original Xbox for 30 years. You know, like obviously she moved to other companies, but she wants to see that thing that she worked on succeed. And this change in the Xbox hardware has been happening for years. They've been moving over to cloud for, I mean, at least 5 years. They've been pushing xCloud. They obviously just started their partnerships with Sony, and they're publishing games on Sony now, on PlayStation, things like that. So this is something that we've known for a very long time. Xbox has also been losing the console war for about 10 years now. PS4 was really when they started overtaking Xbox in terms of sales, and they had to pivot. They have to. I'm actually surprised that we're getting the ROG Xbox Ally at all. I'm surprised we're getting that hardware at all, because I thought for sure they were just going to nix the Xbox entirely and be like, all right, well, now this is an Xbox. This is an Xbox. Everything's an Xbox, right? So that handheld to me almost feels like they're pushing into Nintendo Switch 2 territory, or Nintendo Switch territory, where Nintendo doesn't even make a console anymore. They make a handheld that is a console. And that's the way this feels to me. They saw the success of the Switch, and they're like, I think we could do that with Windows. And I think they can. I really do. I think they can. It just depends on how much it is, really.
I think so too. As usual with PC, you can do whatever you can imagine, provided you have the tolerance and the willingness to look up a bunch of adapters and weird shit. So, but the vision of something like that, like a handheld that you then drop into a dock and suddenly it becomes like a 4K capable, high-powered console, that is literally there with a lot of PC handhelds now. It's just not very clean and neat and orderly, and the UI kind of sucks because it's Windows 11. It's designed to do whatever, or a Linux machine. Yeah, you can get external video cards, and they even kind of talked about that with the ROG Xbox Ally, that they have an external GPU that they're going to offer with it, that you just plug it in and boom, now you've got a desktop PC that can run games as good or better than a high-end console, probably. So it's, yeah, the future is arriving very quickly. And I agree with what you said, Bruce, that like, I'm surprised that they're being this flexible and allowing themselves to work with another company. I think the distro of Windows is a way bigger deal than anyone has really acknowledged yet. I guess it's not out and it's not real, so we don't know what the real drawbacks are. But the fact that Microsoft is making a thin version, like an Xbox flavor of Windows, that only like accesses games first and foremost and is really compact and efficient outside of that. I didn't think they would ever do that. I didn't think they were that kind of company anymore. I thought it was just like monolithic Windows 11 on everything, or Windows 10. And that's just what you get. So that's pretty cool, and it could be a big change. And in terms of like, there not being one killer app that drives everyone to this hardware, I think instead, Xbox wants it to be the hardware that's so easy to use that people gravitate towards it because it's the best in class. Like, it can run everything. We don't know how well yet, nor do we know how easy that'll be. We don't know how locked down or guided that process will be. And Microsoft, of course, could also change things as it goes on. Like, there's a lot of unknowns. But if it can do everything and do it well, we don't really have a device like that yet.
Man, oh man, you're totally right. And like we were saying before, I feel like it's dead in the water if it launches at $1,000 or whatever. If it's, you know, $600 to $700, maybe we might get a few sales here and there. But anecdotally, usually when a company starts to open up their ecosystem, that generally is not good for them. That usually means that they are like now having to reach to other places to find money. And that's what Xbox is doing because they don't have the money to lock down their ecosystem like a Sony or an Apple. So I applaud Xbox for doing these things. It's great for the consumer, right? We love it. But it usually signals a very distinct change in their business or the beginning of the end.
Absolutely. I think they're just following market trends, which has been trending towards PC. So they're putting out a PC product that they can sell worldwide that can access their subscription service. And if a device can access everything equally, I think this is Xbox's bet. The Game Pass will be impossible to ignore, especially when Outer Worlds is $80, but PC still gets the PC discounts on everything. So everything's much cheaper software-wise. Anyway, so I can see them connecting the dots, and I think it's a wise move, especially and honestly, I'm a little pro because this is all flourishing under the PC umbrella, which is sort of the ecosystem that I've liked and supported ever since I got into it, or, you know, as fast as I could. So yeah, I'm supportive too, and I think it's smart strategy. It just depends if that line's going to keep going up and if they can convince people to give them $12 a month for Game Pass.
That's right. We need to disclose the fact that Lawrence and I were invited to a dinner with Microsoft. We got to sit next to Sarah Bond and Matt Booty and Phil Spencer and speak with them very briefly. What did I have there? I had a chicken sandwich or something. So I had a chicken sandwich and a Diet Coke.
I was a little glutton, Bruce. I had a seared ahi tuna salad.
Ooh.
And one bite of the like fudge cookie thing that they put out for dessert. But it was too sugary, but still I took the bite. There's my disclosure. Please don't accuse us of being in Xbox's pocket. If they send me a ROG Xbox Ally, though, I'm taking that shit. I'm just going to put that out there.
I mean, obviously me too. And we'll tell you if we get it, by the way. We'd like to thank a few patrons that support the Inside Games Patreon that have the strongest opinions about Linux that you'll ever hear. And trust me, they're exciting. Opinions about Linux, by the way, the most exciting thing. Just a Chair, UESC Battleroid, and J Embers 87.
Tell us again, Grandpa. Tell us about your favorite distro of Linux.